Build your own deer factory. Brought to you by Kubota.
Well, James, I'm excited to finally have boots on the ground here in Northwest Oklahoma. Woodward County, Steve, is where we're working. You know, we've already done a little bit of an introduction, taken a tour of the property. This week, we're actually going to start getting our hands dirty and get to work. And one of the things we really wanted to focus on right off the bat was climate limitations. Right. Some of the challenges that we face out here in Oklahoma that we don't necessarily deal with, at least on the same scale, east of the Mississippi and some of the places traditionally we've worked, James.
Yeah, as I've said before, this is ranching country. And there's a reason why it's ranching country is you don't have the rainfall to grow agricultural crops for the most part. Climate is the biggest challenge that guys like Steve face in this part of the world. And water availability is very, very important. Now, Woodward County gets about 25 to 30 inches, according to the records, of rainfall a year and about 17 inches of snow. But that's the average. And as I tell people a lot of times, when it comes to average, if you lie with your head in the freezer and your feet in an oven, on average, you're going to feel pretty good. But you haven't felt good about average yet, have you? I'm still waiting for that average. So dealing with rainfall, dealing with water availability is a critical aspect of here. And Steve's done a great job, I can already tell you.
Well, Steve, we're going to go out and actually look at some of your supplemental water setups and how this property, lays out in terms of dealing with the climate. But what has the climate been like, for you over the last couple of years? What have you been dealing with out here?
Well, for the most part, we've been in an extended drought. I mean, James had mentioned that we get 25 or so inches a year, and it's been a while since we've got anything close to that. We've had our ups and downs. We had an absolutely severe drought back in 2012. Which affected our deer herd.
Right.
But just like you guys are talking about, water's a big deal here.
Yeah, and you know what? Water can be a big deal regardless of where you are in the country, but let's check out some of your setups and talk a little bit about how that plays into your management strategy and potentially even your hunting strategy.
We had discussed supplemental water, and this is more of the centrally located one that I've got. I've got them kind of spread through here, but this is something just recently that I've started using because, we're in a period of such a prolonged drought that these are just huge.
Yeah, it's one of the most critical things you can do, folks. We recommend one water station per 80 acres, and this is put together perfectly. You might be thinking, what's that stick doing in there? But Steve's thought ahead. You got a stick in here in case small animals fall in, they got a way to get out. We care about the small animals, but we also care about our deer. We don't want dead, rotting animals in the water. And we also got a perch over here where the turkeys can come up. He's got great Rio Grande turkeys here where they can drink. Then another thing I want to point out is the water's kind of green. It's got some algae in it. I get calls all the time from folks that say, hey, my water's got algae in it. How do I kill it? Because the deer won't drink it. I just know they won't drink it. Well, that's nonsense. Deer like stagnant, still water. Over here in the Canadian River, they don't like running water. They're going to go to the little dead pools. So this is a perfect setup for your deer. We recommend, like I said, one per 80 acres. And then the last thing that's special about them is if you've got this kind of water supply, you don't have any mud. If you don't have any mud, you don't have any gnats. You don't have any gnats, you don't have the virus for hemorrhagic disease. So it's a great way to spread your deer out and keep them from getting hemorrhagic disease.
Well, James, in here in Oklahoma, obviously you deal with drought conditions. It makes sense, it's obvious that you need to have some kind of supplemental water, but right. It's valuable elsewhere too. And just because you may have some natural water source, a pond or some water spread across your property, doesn't mean that it's still not advantageous to have supplemental water spread across your property.
Absolutely. You can eat it almost everywhere.